Hello, good morning, everybody. We'll start in a couple of minutes. So I'll set up my system meanwhile. Okay, guys, so let's start now. I hope I'm clear and audible to everyone. Okay, I see messages. Okay, great. I hope you got some time to go through the basic stuff we'll discuss last week. Um, So how many of you could do something on basic Python? Because we spent very good amount of time on Python basics, where considering a lot of people who have no background on Python or any programming, so I tried to cover with the basic stuff. Today we will cover some remaining part of it, and then we will jump on to some of the important packages which we need to learn as part of our machine learning program. Okay, so it is very important to attend the sessions, guys, and then we'll pull out some time during during weekdays to spend some time and do some hands-on. Okay, that's where the the complete training will be most useful. Okay. um Okay, Zahir, I got it. You could not spend some time on this. Okay, yeah, please do so this week, and definitely this helps, especially for those who are new to programming or new to Python. This is really important because now this week we will go on some advanced packages, and later on we will focus more on the statistics and machine learning models, where we will be talking more about that, not the programming, right? So programming is important, but still if you spend some time, that will help you to expedite the things here, right? Okay, so let's start. Last time we were talking about functions, and we just started with a very basic function, how to write a function. Before that, we already used many built-in functions like print, length, enumerate, right, range, help, hex. So there are a few functions we used, and there are many more we might use going forward. Those are the built-in functions. And object functions also, we have seen what is object function, and how to use those object functions, and how to get help of object help to see how we can use object functions using help function and using dir function. Dir function helps you to get the number of functionalities and attributes of any object. Okay, that way we did suppose dir list will help you to get many functions and attributes belongs to that particular object, that is list object. Okay, so here I see some little mistakes. See, object functions, this is not list dot capitalize, but it was string dot append, string dot capitalize, list dot extend, yeah, this is right, and dictionary dot value, this is right, and so on, right? Okay, so these two were string functions actually, right? No, not this one is list only. Okay, the only first one. Nobody corrected this last session. Okay, anyway, so these are some of the functions we have seen, and there are many which you guys were expected to explore, and if not, then please do so going forward. Okay, so these are some of the functions which we discussed is the object functions. And now we started writing our own functions, that is user defined functions. So these are the three different types of functions which we deal with in Python, or many programming languages as such, but let's focus on Python. Here, functions are used to put a logical block together, as well as to make sure that we reuse some of the stuff going forward. Instead of writing multiple times, suppose I have some calculator functionality, so whatever functionality, whatever block of statements I write in that particular purpose, in that particular function, so I don't want to repeat those lines of code in my software. So instead I can just club this together, these statements together, and create a function so that I can go and use, for example, add functionality, add 2 and 4, or add 3.6 comma 6.9, right? So this kind of you know the functionality, I just want to repeat this for every number which I receive, right? And that is the reason we go for writing our own functions. So next thing is about some arguments, right? So right now whatever we have seen is without any argument, we have just written one basic function, and which we have called here, right? This is how we call, and this is how we define a function. So there's a colon and then block, so all the statements after with this indentation belongs to this particular function, right? And anything if I write below this, that is not part of the greeting function. Okay, so yeah, look at this. So this function got executed, but since we didn't call this function, nothing printed, but this is executable statement altogether. So it is simply printing what it's supposed to print, right? So greeting, and this is how we get the greeting printed. Now suppose if I do something like this, so this way also we can call. So basically I'm calling a function, but I'm also returning. I mean, I'm just saving whatever this function returns by end of this call, right? And let's see what it returns, right? It returns nothing. Okay, so because we are actually not returning anything, correct? So now if I modify the same thing a little bit here, and we see how what we can do, let's say return done. So let's say I want to return something from this function, and I want to print it. Let's see how it looks. Yeah, done is getting printed, correct? So this is something called return statement, how we return from a function. Okay guys, good morning. I see a few people joined little late. We have already started, and I'm to the point where we left last time on last Sunday. So I hope you can follow this. Okay, so yeah, the point here is how to return from a function, and this is the return. Return is what is return? Return is what is return? Quickly, anybody? Yes, guys. Good morning. Keyword. Niriksha, right. So this is a keyword. Okay, this is not a function, not a built-in function, or not an operator, or nothing, right? It is a keyword which is used to return something from a function. Okay, so something is here, it is a string. Now, let me go back to the first example here again, right, where I'm not returning anything. And if you see, this is how we call. And if I see, yeah, there is a way to print as well the return value. Here, none is printed, meaning by default function returns none, right? None is not null for those who have some pointer or C++ background. So let's not get confused. None is not a null pointer or something like that. So it is just a none object. None object means nothing, right? There is nothing, right? So it's an object, but there is nothing in that object. That's what it means, right? So by default, it returns none unless explicitly we try to return something. We don't get anything returned, right? Here I tried to return some specific object that is of type string, and string is returned. If I see a red, there is done printed, and if I see the type of red, so it is a string type of object, correct? Yes, Ram Kiran, it's like void. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so this is how quick stuff about a function. There are two keywords, def and return. Okay, and let me tell you about some argument how to pass something. Okay, so here let's say um, mm, 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 Akash, and I just want to modify a little bit this function with the name of this particular one argument to this particular function. Okay, now I run. There is nothing changes here as such if I run this, but when I call this function, now it is this Akash is mapped to name. Okay, but since I did not use name inside this particular function, so nothing happened. But here, if I want to do something, I can just simply print this name. Okay, you guys might be confused now what is happening, but you look at this, hello Akash. Okay, so here this is another way how we can write a print statement. Let me write this in the another alternate way which we did earlier, was something like this. Okay, if you guys follow this, or you might have used something like this. Okay, whatever, right? So these are the different ways we can use this print function, and we will get this Akash welcome. Okay, here there is no space, so that's the reason. Mm, okay, hello Akash. So yeah, so this is how I did. So now just look at this function here. It is pretty straightforward. Here these are the, this is a string object. This is of again type of string only. I'm just putting this using variable, and there's another string object. This is again straightforward, but this is a new way. Probably I didn't do this last time, but this is again commonly used format or way of printing some of the parameters. So here, this whole thing is a string. So wherever you want to, put some print something, so you can simply write everything into a string, but where you want to substitute a variable, only that place you have to write this position holder, right? So this is curly brace open and close. Let me increase little font, yeah. And then all these things you have to write in the format function. So if you look at the string object, and if you see, the string object also has, like, capitalize is one function, there is format as another function. If you look at this, and probably you can take a help of how we can use this, and that's where you'll understand how we can use these different number of arguments here to fill the position holders. Okay, so that way we can also do this. Okay, so oops, sorry, age, and look at this. So this age is getting executed. That 25 is this second curly brace is replaced with the second argument, and so on. So this is called a positional argument, right? And this is how we pass to the function, and definitely it maps one-on-one the moment it sees the first string without looking at the type of the object. This is mapped to name, and the second is mapped to age. Okay, so yeah, this is how this functions and function looks like, and this is how we do use functions and its argument. Okay, so let me give one more example. Maybe what we will do is I will take one example. We have some names yesterday, right? Yeah, we have this list of names. Yeah, this one, I'll just take this. And let me jump on to the third notebook. This was for the day 2, and I have saved. I will again upload little modifications in this. Now here, we have names, and we will see, like, kind of calling function is it? Is Sai, what is your question? Kind of calling function is it? Means yes, we are calling that function. That's what we have seen, how to call a function and how to pass some arguments to a function. Now, this is the list of the words. Let's say I have this list of the words, and we have seen yesterday about, sorry, in the last session, about how we can play with this name, and we work with those words which are greater than length 5 or something of that sort, right? So we have seen that. So similar thing, we should this is a good idea to really work with the function in this kind of scenario, is something like this. Let's say filter names. Okay, filter names, I would say, and I can simply provide the names as the input, and once I get the names as the input, I can probably I'll create a new list which is empty for name in names, and if length of name is greater than 5, I hope you understand, you recall this is the same thing which we did last time. Append name, and I can simply return this name list or new list, right? Okay, this is how we can write a quick function to do the same thing what we tried doing last in the last session, right? So here, if I pass names, I can simply say that, okay, I got what it returns is, it returns an empty list. Any guess why so? There is one name with which is whose length is greater, right? Greater than 5. So still, why it didn't do that? New list appended. Now it worked. What did I do, guys? Quickly, anybody observed that? Yes, come on. Yes, great observation, Sankalp. Sankalp is saying that a written statement was inside the loop. Niriksha is saying indentation mistake. Yeah, so technically, I mean, the syntactically, this was not the mistake, but yes, logical mistake it was, and we did that earlier, and now that is corrected. Space before return. Ram Kiran, space before return was not something which we can't do. So if I do this space before return, so this statement becomes a part of this for loop. Okay, and if I remove that one indentation, now this becomes this comes out of the for loop, and that makes little difference. Okay, so it's okay. So ultimately, what we are trying to achieve is done here, and that's how we can get these names, right, whose length is greater than 5 in this case. Okay, the same thing, did we discuss about the list comprehension in the last session? Did I say something about that? No, right? Okay, so we will talk about list comprehension a quickly. No, I didn't talk about list comprehension. Niriksha says no. Anybody else recall anything if I talked about it? Yeah, Anand is saying, Anand Raj, we discussed both list and dictionary. Ashish, yes. Anand Raj, comprehension. Yes, I think we discussed about list comprehension, right? We spent good amount of time on list comprehension. If you recall, I'll simply create a list of range odd numbers. Let's say if I modulus 2 equal to 1. This is something we have already talked about, right? Yes, Niriksha, did you recall? Can you recall now? Okay, so we talked about this, and now let me ask you guys how you can convert this function to using list comprehension. Can you guys do it? I think we did that also. Nobody? We did this, I think. Name for name in names if length of name greater than 5. I think it was done already. Okay. Okay, fine. So we have seen this technique earlier, and this time again we have simply used a function, nothing more. So it is just a function. This time we try to understand. Okay, so this is about functions. Yeah, this is about function, and this is the simple function with or without arguments. With argument we have seen, and without argument. Now let me quickly introduce you a couple of more things, not to go in that detail. Okay, there is a question from Krishna: how calling statement like filter names will know that function is returning something? uh, it won't know. Function will always return something. Okay, if I don't explicitly return something, so by default it returns null, sorry, none. Correct. So the filter names, now here I'm simply printing whatever it returns, and it shows that okay, this is the list it is returning. But if I return a string, right, it will let's say name, it will return a name. So it doesn't care what is returned, what is the type of the object we are returning. We can simply return it, and if you want you can store into some variable and then check the type here if you want, right? But it will simply understand that something is returned, and whatever it returns, so that we should either store or we can look at that, right? Nothing, if nothing returned means none will be returned. Okay. So there is one more concept, a little small thing, but important is to understand is functions are function name itself is the type of the function, that is the object of the function. So we won't go to so many details about function. The reason is we have limited time, and Python itself will take all the sessions if we really go to that depth. Okay, so we have to, you guys can explore this, but just to add some little bit more about functions. So maybe what I'll do is, let's say, define a employee function where name, age, these are the two things, print name comma age. Okay, and I can simply call this Akash and let's say 25, and this is how I get it, right? But what if I have, let's say, mobile number, then you know then his, many details, maybe city, maybe gender, or maybe I'll put the address and so many things. Okay, so there are many things. In that case, see, if I don't provide all these arguments, it will say error, right? So employee is expecting 6 arguments, but we have passed only 2. So it will map each argument to the location based on the position of the argument, correct? Okay, Ashish, map filter functions we will use, and that time I'll explain about map and filter function. Okay, yeah. Okay, this is how this looks like. So we have to actually provide all the details, and so these numbers and CT and everything, right? But many times we want to club all these things together. So there is a provision. Already we have seen there is something called positional argument, which we already used, and rest of the arguments we can combine, we can consolidate together, and we give as a args as some of the keyword, right? Anything we can, in fact, we can get something in the details, right? The star will indicate that, okay, these are the details we are probably getting from the user. Okay, so let's say this is the number, this is the city, this is the gender, this is, let's say, address, or many things, right? So some address here. So now if I call this, so it has not given me error, and now even if I reduce one of the argument, still it won't give me error. The reason, wait a moment, 1 2 3 4. Oh, I didn't run it. This function I was supposed to run, right? So even if I reduce one of the argument, it has not given error, right? Right now it has become flexible, and let me see how we can see that, how we can use that. Okay, so now here if I try to print details, so this is how it looks like, right? Details are, means everything is captured, so remaining all the arguments, these positional arguments are mapped as it is, right? Name, Akash map to name, 25 map to age, but details is having all the other details which we have passed after this positional argument, right? And these are called non-keyword argument, right? Or you can simply say these are again argument, normal argument. Non-keyword is because we will be talking about something called keyword arguments. That time I'll explain. So right now this is how we consolidate everything. We get all the arguments together, and we can simply put here as a part of details. So that is called star details, or star args is the keyword generally people use, but not a keyword. Args is the name of the variable simply, right? Name of the argument. We can use any name, in fact, but generally people use star args and star kw args for the keyword argument. So that's the reason I'm using args. Okay, so args is not a keyword. You can also have your own name, anything you want. Okay, now let me also do, there is something called kw args. okay, or instead of that, other details, whatever you want to use. Okay, there is no rule as such to use only that name, and we will see how this looks like. Okay, now I want to call the same function here. Many times what happens is we want to really map these details with the argument name, because we don't want to really make that sequence, because here the sequence matters, right? What if I want to pull out the ct? So ct, I want to pull out the ct. What to do, how to pull out ct inside the function? I want to simply print the ct here quickly, guys. Yes. Nobody? How to pull out a ct here? Args is a tuple, and inside this tuple I see this many details, and to get a ct, it is pretty obvious. Sankalp, you're right. Args1. Okay, args1 will give me ct. Okay, so I could print the ct here, but it is really difficult, right? So args1 is having something and args3 is having address, so many times it is really difficult to maintain that way. Yeah, Vijay, yes, Sankalp, yeah, great, right? So you got the answer here. So this is another challenge at times, right? At times it is pretty straightforward. Whatever information I receive, I can pass it. Many times this works, but many times we want to have the name associated with these arguments. So better we can have some kind of keyword argument, and we can simply say this details here. Okay, sorry, here I don't have to give single quote, and this is how we can call. Right now let me see, if I try to call this way. Okay, one thing is other details I should use instead of args. Now you look at this, now irrespective of the sequence. Now here sequence doesn't matter. Why sequence doesn't matter? Because these all the keyword arguments after the positional arguments. Remember, after positional argument, meaning these two arguments are fixed. I can't change. I have to pass these two arguments. I can't compromise on this, but I can compromise on other arguments. Even if I remove the address line, without anything, any change required in the function definition, it will work. Okay, but I can't compromise on this positional argument. These are fixed arguments, but the rest of the arguments are now in this case are collected in other details, which is double star indicates that it is expecting it is expecting keyword arguments, meaning it is like a dictionary where there is a key and value associated with it, and automatically this whole thing is converted to dictionary when we pass this many arguments together, and we observe that okay, this is how it is printed. Okay, and now other details I will simply write kwrs, because this is the generally used and obvious keyword here, or obvious argument here, which is best fit here. So a lot of developers community people use kwrs. Maybe in your some of the projects you will see that. Okay, so that's the reason we are using kwrs. Okay, so kwrs. Now how to get ct is pretty simple. I can simply get ct here. Okay, and I'm done. Okay, so that is straightforward. Now let me take you through the print functions help page. Now if you look at this, this is a keyword, this is a positional argument. These are some of the variable number of arguments, the same we can provide, and then later on there are some keyword arguments. Now this sep is a keyword. If I use, if I change the sequence, if I put ct first, nothing happens here. Okay, now even if I call this way, there's no problem at all, right? ct is, but that is not the case in this case, in the first scenario, right? Here if I change the sequence, obviously that argument 3 won't be having address if I add address a little early, right? So that is the reason. Ashish is asking, his mobile does not require quote. Where is the quote? No, I didn't use quote here at the time of calling, Ashish. Which line number you are referring to? Line number 32, 42, or 43, or 41, or what? So maybe I will see that. In 43, no, we don't need. That's what I was trying to tell. These are the keywords. So CT also don't need code, mobile don't need code, sex don't need code, address don't need code. So why? Because these are the keyword with which we are referring, right? So meaning it is like a name. Name doesn't need any quote here, right? These are the variables. In that variable I am putting Pune, in this variable I am putting number, mobile number, and so on. So automatically this is mapped to KWArgs, where this is um, a dictionary, and since I'm accessing that dictionary, I will use quote here. Okay, so in couple of more examples, if you guys could do, you will understand a little bit more. But guys, because we have time constraint and we cannot spend a lot of time on Python basics, this is something you can you can learn on yourself. So I can't take more than one example for any topic, and that is something you have to do. That's why I was requesting you spend time and so that we can focus on our main machine learning stuff which we are able to start. Now Anand Raj has one question. He has given me one small code snippet. How do we pass to phone number? Okay, I don't know, let me just copy and then I will look at your program. Okay, good. I know if you get such questions quickly, feel free to uh, ask here. Okay, now your question is this. This is your function, right? Now you are saying that if I call hello Akash and 25, I get error because, okay, there is a rule. Okay, so this is by obvious, but there is a rule that we cannot have positional arguments after this keyword or non-keyword arguments. So we should have this phone number before this, because this won't allow syntactically. Okay, you have to provide let's say whatever phone number you want to give, so you have to provide this first. So all the positional arguments, these are the rules we have to follow. Okay, so these are the some of the rules, and these are pretty obvious things that I cannot have some of the variable number of arguments, which will be, every argument will be clubbed by default into the details, right? So I cannot have phone number a positional argument after this, because everything is already gone to details. Okay, so whatever positional arguments you have, those must come at the start of this particular list. Is this clear, Anand Raj? Vijay is asking, is args for variables? Okay, Anandra is saying is clear. Position arguments comes first. Yes, yes. This is the rule we should follow. There are a couple of rules we should. These are obvious. That's why we don't specify a couple of times. If you do, you will realize that. So positional arguments has to be first. We cannot have positional argument followed by non-positional argument like keyword arguments or non-keyword arguments. Now Vijay is asking star R's for variables, stars for tuple list, right? No, Vijay, it is not 100% right. So this is what his question is, guys. So who can answer best? Is args star R's for variables and star R's for tuples and list? So this is what his question is. He's just validating. Star arcs and star arcs both are for is passing some arguments. Okay, arguments to a function, meaning there is definitely a variable, because without variable we cannot access that data inside a function. Okay, now the difference between star arcs and star arcs. Now Anand Raj is saying star arcs is for tuples. Again, I want to reword it. Star arcs for tuple. I want to reword this for sure. Okay, it is not the perfect statement to say. Star arcs is a tuple of all arguments, I would say. Okay, and star arcs is a dictionary. Yeah, I think Ashish has answered correctly. Ashish said star arcs is tuple and star arcs is dictionary. Okay, star arcs, we don't write arcs, instead we write kw arcs. It is simple for understanding. For dix, no, it is actually star kw arcs is a dictionary, right, of uh, all keyword arguments. Okay, so this is what probably you guys are trying to summarize, right? Star stars for keyword arguments. Yes, Anand Rao. Yeah. Yes, that looks right. Yes, Vijay. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so this is how it is. It is just mapped this way when we pass. Okay, so let's stop here. Probably I will whenever we need it, we can probably explain something more about this. But this is kind of, again, we are deep diving a lot inside Python. So as I said, Python has many things, and our aim is to not learn programming. A lot of people are not from programming background. I don't want to scare them, right? So our aim is not to go in detail about all the programming which is there in Python. My aim is to just focus on only some part which where we probably will use in some of the code or algorithms which we are going to develop in machine learning. Okay, so this is about a quick stuff on how we can use something called functions in Python. Okay, so def is a keyword, return is a keyword. This is how we do, right? And there are a lot of advanced things in Python. Again, if you want to go explore this, closures, decorators who are really from the Python background, so maybe you guys can do that. So one more quick stuff I want to do is there is something called lambda function. Right, lambda function is is an anonymous function which can be used to work with a simple statement or a single stuff or a single expression which we can which we have we want to use probably, and that is how the lambda function is used. Anonymous user defined function, lambda functions. Okay, anonymous spelling, I hope I'm correct. Anonymous user defined function. Okay, but anonymous means there is no name, and obviously without name, how to access? Here hello is the function we are accessing, we are calling this hello. Greeting is a function, or employee is a function, we are using this employee name to call this, right? And earlier greeting is the function, or filter names is a function name which we are using and calling. So this is pretty simple and straightforward, that okay, if I have a name, I can probably call that particular function, right? As simple as that. But here lambda function is a function which can hold a single expression and which does not have a name. Okay, so this is again simple stuff but important. You must know this. So define let's say I simply write func here, and I'll pass these two arguments, and now I want to return if x is greater than y, I want to return x minus y, else I want to return y minus x. I hope this is clear. Okay, now what I will do is I will simply call this, and I get this 22 is the result. Now if I do this 56 and 34, still I get 22, right? So this is a positive number I'm getting. So the same thing many times, this is a quick stuff. And also, okay, by the way, functions are the objects as well. Functions are first class objects as well. So f object, I will just simply type this to return. Okay, now remember, I am not calling this function. This curly round bracket is to call a function. So I'm not calling a function, but I'm now assigning that function name to some other variable, and that is of type function, right? So that means that func is one and f object is another name of the same function, right? So if I do this f obj, and if I do this, still I get what the function is actually doing here, right? So this is what is called returning of, or maybe I would say it is the function name itself is the name of the object of that particular function, right? Everything is object. That's what I said in the last session as well. So and function, that way function can be returned from a function, from any other function, or function can be passed as an argument. So all these things are there. For those who are new, it's okay if you don't understand, but for those who are really interested, these lines will help them to explore more if they want, right? But for machine learning, we don't need that kind of depth of this particular concept. So we can just hold on for that. Okay, now the same thing, this is the same thing I would like to do this way. Okay, I would like to do let's say return x minus y if x is greater than y, else y minus x. This is also absolutely fine. Okay, so this we have already seen. So how to use this and this thing in a single expression. Now for such single expressions, if we have such a single simple function where there is a very less lines of code, or simple, especially when we have only one expression, so those functions we can convert, and in the runtime we can simply use let me just tell you how to do that. First is lambda is a keyword, and lambda is a keyword, and whatever arguments you want to pass, we have to put this in comma separated here, and colon here. I can simply write this whole expression. Okay, so we don't have to write a return keyword, we don't have to write this block here, change the indentation, and a lot of things. But this could be a simple one where we will have the same functionality, but I don't have, see here we have basically assigned to the sum of the variable, but in practical when we talk about lambda function, the main goal is not to assign to any variable or any function name and use this going forward. It is not for reusability, but it is a quick stuff, some function, and which returns a type function type object, right? Let me just type here, and I'll see that this is a function type object. Okay, so I'll come to this once again in a while when we talk a little bit about there's something called map and filter function. Maybe this is what we were talking, we will discuss about, right? So that time I will explain about this, but many times we have to pass a function as an argument. That time the whole thing we can write, and that makes our quick stuff possible without really going. There's no mandate to use this, but you might see somewhere in going forward, so you should just know about lambda. Okay, as such this is just optional. Without this also we can do our code the way we did here. Okay, so going forward we will definitely get one or two another similar opportunity to take a couple of more examples, but we have to move on, and let's focus on other topic now. Is that fine, guys? And I understand you guys might be wondering a lot of things we are taking in a fast pace, and we might not be able to take multiple examples for the same topic. Our sessions, this is not a Python training, guys. So that is the only reason. Definitely, I would love to take more examples for every topic, and we can do a lot here, but our goal is to learn machine learning, so Python is the only required stuff we are learning. And for those who are interested, you guys can definitely, I would suggest, go on Udemy or learn on yourself, and probably you will definitely get more hands-on Python. Okay, but for developers it is required. For others it may not be required that kind of depth. Okay, so let's jump on to the next topic. After this I would like to cover a little bit on the on object-oriented concepts, and then we will move on the some of the advanced packages like NumPy and pandas. That is the goal. That is the aim for today and tomorrow. Lambda function we discussed. There is something called map function. Okay, if I check the help page, it will give you the class. Definitely help page at this moment won't help you, but sometime later I will explain about this class and what is class and all. But there is something called map function which can be used to map something into I mean this is a functional style of programming for those who knows something about this concept, so they might relate it. But to quickly talk about, let me just write one simple example how we can use this map function. Let's say I have one function, and I have this whatever argument I have passed, I'm just returning that the part to the power. Double star is a power operator, guys, if I have not talked earlier. So double star, single star is multiplication, right? Double star is a power operator. And now we got this function, whatever I pass, it will return by or return its power 3. Okay, so now, as I said, functions can be passed. So func is something I can pass here, and suppose I pass a list of numbers. So my goal here is, suppose I want to have, let me, before this, let me just take one more thing. Let's say numbers equal to, let's say I have this list of numbers, and now I want to get the cube of each number, right? So what I can do is, for n in numbers, this is how I have to do them, right? Func n. Okay, in fact I have to print here, and this way I'm getting what I really want to. Okay, or in case if I want to have a cube of numbers, I can just simply use cube dot append, and I can simply see now all the cube of each number is done, and that is part of our new list. Okay, so this kind of mechanism where I want to work on this iterable object on every element of this particular object, this functionality I'm calling. Okay, this func I'm calling here, right? So this is again something to note, since we used functions. So this is how we can even call function within something and pass that output as an argument to any other function. Okay, so so I hope this is not confusing, but let me do the similar thing using map function here. I just want to try to explain you that how map function works and what it returns. So it returns a map object. Again, map is an iterable object. Okay, because map is a class internally, and this returns of type something called map object. I will just use this map object, and for I in m print, let's say I, and I get this all the numbers. And map works on a generator concept. So we talked a little bit about generator. I'm telling here, the reason is I'm just trying to tell that since it works on generator concept, it is more memory efficient and obviously much faster than the traditional looping what we did in line number 70. Okay, so here I have the numbers, and numbers is, what is the numbers here? 1 2 5 6 7. So this is a iterable object. On this iterable object, every element is picked here, the first one, and this function is applied on each element of numbers, right? It's as good as I'm calling this func for 1, I'm calling this for 2, I'm calling this func for 5, I'm calling this func for 6, I'm calling this func for 7, right? And I'm putting all the things into an object called map object, and map object is a generator object, so it won't occupy memory of all the details, all these numbers. Okay, if it is a million numbers here in this list, so it is not occupying that much memory, and that's why it is memory efficient. And of course, built-in is always faster than the traditional way of doing anything, right, in Python. So this is the map function which works on on applying this particular functionality on iterable object, every element of the iterable object, right? And that's how we can use a map function here. Okay, so I hope is this clear, guys? How we are using this function and how to pass a function and how to get um, this map working. Any question, any confusion here? Anand Rao said crystal clear, fantastic. Vijay, okay, no questions, that's great. Anybody else? Those who are new to programming, do you guys follow? Do you guys see it so much, too many things? But is map only for collections? Uh, Only for collections means it can be used only for the iterable objects. Here there's numbers, here there might be tuple, there might be dictionary, there might be any collection. This functionality will be applied. Okay, uh, is that fine, Anandrao? Okay, how about other people? I don't see any replies as such. You guys, yes, no, don't know, not sure. Okay, Anil, yes. Krishna, yes. Okay, fine. So I got many yes now. Zahir, Chandrasekhar, no problem. Okay, perfect, guys. Okay. So, yeah, this is about map. There is also another function called filter. There is another function called reduce. So, these are again some of the function. Map, filter, reduce is something, used in Hadoop. This concept of playing with the data, and sometimes we might use it. We will talk more about when we really use it, but let me just take a little bit on filter. So to be honest, these topics are something where I can probably spend a couple of hours in discussing in detail, but and let's not go to that depth here. I just want to make this introduction to you guys. If you see some time, it should not be a new thing for you guys. Okay, filter is to filter the elements from some iterable object. Okay, so filter is the function which we can use. Let me just use this filter function, and I see again filter is a class. You might not get we will learn this classes and objects sometime later, and but we can use this filter function for, let's say I want to use this same function, or maybe I have to probably write a different function for this, and I want to use let's say numbers, and I will observe what is happening here. Okay, for I in F, I'll simply print I, and I get 1 2 5 6 7. So nothing happened, right? As it is, I get it. The only this filter function, that functionality what I'm trying to use here should be used for filtration of some output here. Okay, so I want to filter, I want to print the output only if if that let's say if this number is uh, odd or even. Okay, and I want to return this number. Okay, suppose this is the functionality I want to use, and probably what I will do is I will use this filter function, and now I see that okay, the output got filtered. Okay, this functionality is applied on the numbers on each iterable object, but understand that based on this filter condition, this output is filtered, and if I use the map function here, so definitely this none will be added, because every time we are returning something, if not that number, right? So output is not filtered, that functionality is applied on every number when I use map, but filter is filtering those output which does not fit into that particular condition, right? That's a small difference, but filter function is used for filtering your output. it will be applied on every function. Okay, though it looks very similar, but when you do this on the bigger scale, when you really filter out some of the data manipulation, or this function is little bigger function, that's where probably you will understand a little bit more about this. But this is in the nutshell, to put it in a simple way. This will be applied on every object of this numbers list. And not only numbers, it can be any iterable object for that matter. It can be tuple, it can be dictionary, it can be a map object, it can be anything, right, where we can do some kind of iteration. And a reduce function is to reduce your output to a single number, meaning suppose you have this list here, right, 1 2 5 and 6 and 7, let's say, and so on. So I want to do some operation on these two numbers and derive only one number, and then I can again do the same thing with these two numbers and derive only one number. So that's where reduce function is used. That's how the reduce function, map, filter, and reduce, these are the three types of functions used sometimes. So maybe that time we will talk. So reduce function is again, I will leave to you guys to explore. But now let me just go back and talk a little bit about the same thing what we did here. What did we do here? Look at this here. This is the function. Okay, this func is there. This is a simple function with only one line, and this is the map where we are calling this func. Okay, so to be honest, this func is not for our goal is to have this functionality, but our goal is not to reuse that functionality, and that was not the reason we wrote this as a function. But we have to write because this asks a function argument, right? The same thing we could do is we could do using, there is something called lambda function. Lambda, whatever I pass, it will simply cube to that particular argument, right? So this one thing, and this row number 86 and 87, both are exactly doing the same thing, right? Here I can reuse this func even in future. For any number, it will give me the cube of this number. Okay, but here it is not the case. This is just one time used. There is no name of this function, so I cannot reuse this functionality, right? That is the limitation. And of course that limitation is definitely is not a problem, because we have only single line of line expression inside this particular function. So in that scenario, lambda keyword can be used, and it is more readable, a little faster, and quick stuff we can do as part of this first argument. Here I can simply pass, because this is a type return, sorry, of type function, and this func is of type function only, right? So if you look at this closely, you will see that, okay, this is same thing we are doing here. Instead of writing this into func and understanding what this func does in the quick simple one line, you will understand, okay, this is what we are doing. So this is more readable, guys. Okay, so that is how lambda can be used. This is one place where we we can use this lambda type functionality. There are many situations, like in the sorting, like in many other function or objects or classes, we pass some of the function as an argument. So that time, many times we can just replace this as a instead of a function, you can write a lambda function there. Okay, so this is about a quick stuff about lambda function, map, filter, functionality, and something on functions. Okay, so many things to explore, but we have to move on to the next topic. That is something called object-oriented concepts, because again, that we may not use it, but I will just quickly cover basic stuff to understand how this can be used, how to create some object classes, and then I will move on to NumPy for the day. Okay, so a quick break, guys. If you want to go for tea or coffee, I will break here for 10 minutes. And I will start at 9:15. So I'll be exact after 10 minutes. I'll be back. For those who have some questions, please drop here, and I will come back with the object-oriented concepts, and then we will move on forward. Okay. Okay, guys, I'll go on mute. You guys go on mute only, don't disconnect, and we'll be back in exact 10 minutes. 9:06. I'll be back at 9:20. Sorry, 9:16. Okay, guys, I'm back. Okay, I hope I'm visible. I'm visible and audible, loud and clear for everyone. Okay, you guys are there, right? Okay, okay, perfect. So, yeah, so there are a couple of things we want to talk today, and then I will start with the with some of the important functions called NumPy, if you heard about it, then pandas, and then matplotlib. So this is where we will spend this whole week, today and tomorrow. So these are the whatever we discuss plus these three things is planned for today and tomorrow, and maybe on Saturday a little bit time we put on matplotlib to really explore more about the about this package. Okay, so classes is something which is sorry. Okay, just before that, I just recall one thing. We talked about function, and we talked about some of the functions from. What all types of functions? Quickly, three types. Whoever is, I hope you guys are joining from laptop or your computer, so that will help you guys to quickly type. Avoid talking, avoid connecting on phones. I'm asking this question now. What all types of functions we saw? Built-in function. Yes, next. Object function, and yes, Niriksha. Lambda function, sorry, user-defined function. Sorry, user-defined function. And no, map is a function, but I'm not talking about functions, what all functions we saw. I'm talking about what all different types of functions we saw. And there's something called lambda function also we saw, and somebody already answered that. Ashish said lambda function. Okay, these are the some type of functions we have seen, right? Lambda function, and there is something called module functions, right? Module, what is modules, right? In Python, so everything is every Python file is a module, and there are a lot of modules. We have talked on the day one that this Python becomes so much popular because of its modularity. We have many modules and a lot of things we talked about it. So meaning there is something called built-in libraries, I would say, for those who know C or C++, and I'm sure everybody have learned sometime in their life basic about C++. We have seen there is something called hash include IO stdio.h, and lot of such header files we include before we really start writing any code in our programs, right? In C++ programs. So those are the libraries, or I would say some header files which we can use, and that is for reusability again. So here in Python, module is a collection of similar functionalities put together, right? Functionalities means functions. Again, suppose I have, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. These are the four different types of functions. Suppose I have, so I can have a module. I can put all this kind of functionality together, and I will name it a module, or I would say I can call all these functionalities I put together, and that I can refer this as a module. I can put all these functionalities together in a single file, and I will use that as a module. I can export this. I can probably give it to other teams to avoid the rework on the same stuff. Okay, so that is what is module. Suppose today I want to make a database connection, so I don't want to really go and write all the network related network level coding and specific coding for any particular database. So instead there is a module developed, and which we can go and use directly, and we can only focus on what function I can use from a module. So that is called module function. Okay, so modules, there are built-in modules, there are repository modules. So PyPy is the organizer. Again, this is a Python's official repository, pypy.org, where if you go and search any a database related or any module for that matter, suppose MongoDB I want to see, and I get some MongoDB related packages there, right? So I can simply use this MongoDB packages and I can make a connection, or MySQL for that matter. Okay, so I get MySQL connector. So you get a lot of such packages. We can simply use, go click on this and download, and you're all done. There is a pip utility. It is a package manager which we can use. You guys can explore this later on, but this is the repository from where we get these packages, and I will help you with this pip install package in some time going forward. So I'm not spending time now, but we will do some time when we want to get any package, right? These are repository packages, right? But there are some built-in packages also. So Python is a lightweight software. They don't have so many packages installed, but it comes with some basic packages, like let's say mathematical functionalities and so on, right? So we can use those are built-in functions, built-in modules. And especially when you talk about Anaconda Navigator, so this particular IDE has a huge amount of packages already built in, right? So we don't have to really install anything uh, unless specific requirement, I will tell. But mostly this NumPy, Pandas, Matplotlib, or scikit-learn, whatever we are going to learn more about machine learning stuff, or Seaborn, or any other packages which we will be talking about in future. So those are already available as part of this particular IDE, that is Anaconda Navigator. So we don't have to install, but wherever there is a need, I will use pip install, and that time I'll explain. Those are the packages to download from this pypy.org and install on your system. So those are you built-in repositories and built-in package, and these are the repository package, and there is something called built-in package like math. So import is a keyword to import a math, like we did hash include some dot header file, right? Similarly, import math, and now if I want to do, let's say, math dot square root of a number, right? I don't have to really write square root functionality in my program, but I can use the square root functionality which is there as part of this math module, and that's why I have to use math dot, because this function belongs to math module. Okay, so we used a list functions, list dot, or string function we use, and yes dot capitalize, if you recall, right? So this is how we use this. Yes is a string object, and here math is a module, right? Because this function belongs to this particular module, I have to use this way, right? So that's how we import. Import is a keyword, another new keyword we learned, and we can use that as what happened, capitalize spelling. Okay, so yeah, even here if it is small, it will make it capital. Okay, so point is this is how we import modules, and we see that these are the module functions which we can use, and this is what I was talking about, the last type of function which we are going to use it in future. Okay, so now I will talk about a class. Class is what is class, guys? Can somebody tell me, those who are new to programming, what is your guess, your understanding about class? Yes, what is your guess? What is your understanding? What do you think? What is class? I see a lot of silence, guys. I think you guys are very responsive. In the last session, I saw a lot of responses. Um, Class is binary library of function. Okay, Vijay, I did not understand, but probably I want to get little more precise answer. I will probably tell that. Now, Anand Raj said comprised of variables and method. You're right. Mm, Yeah, okay. And blueprint for an object. Very good answer, Sankalp. Okay, I will explain what does that mean for others. Collection of objects. Not really, Sai. It's not a collection of objects. A class is the prototype. I will. Okay, guys. I got good answers. So let me talk a little bit about a class. See, what happens is, you know a lot of times we want to have some prototype in place, meaning I want to customize some of the type of data, right? We have primitive data types, we have talked about primitive data types, right? Like integer, float, string, etc. Okay, and we have some some more data types here: list, dictionary, advanced kind of data structures, tuple. We have some fixed format, right? These are the containers which holds a particular way of there is a particular way to hold the data in these containers or these data types. Okay, but at times I want to have, let's say, I want to create a circle, right? Or I will say circle name equal to A1, let's say, and circle radius equal to, let's say, 4.2, or circle color equal to blue, and so on, right? This is one circle I got, and suppose I want to have 50 circles. Do you really think it is feasible to do this way? No, it is like 15 to 3, 150 lines of code, and everything will be messed up, right? Circle 1 name, circle 2 name, radius, circle uh, 3 radius, circle 4 radius. So it's difficult to manage that, and probably I can go and use list, and and again inside that list I can have this 50 circle details, that is list with 50 elements, and it is messed up. It will again mess up, though you reduce the number of lines from 150 to maybe 50, or maybe single line, but it is messed up thing even then, right? So how about writing a specific type of object, which is a type class, type circle itself, right? So meaning I have written here one class as a keyword. Just ignore pass for now. Or a keyword class means it is a prototype I am defining. I'm telling that, okay, this is the blueprint, or I would say, I'll take another example. Suppose I say a car, right? What comes in your mind? A car means something which has four wheels, sorry, yeah, four tires, steering, either it's manual or automatic, or some brand, and it takes five people, it carries five people including driver. It's more comfort, luxurious thing, a lot many things comes, and that is, truck won't come in your eyes, in your mind, right? So car means a class, a category of a type of vehicle, right? So when I say nano, so that is again something comes directly. A lot of people understand what nano is, and exact model comes in front of your eyes, right? So now in this case, car is a class, is a blueprint which has some features and some attributes. And when I say nano is the actual object of it, right? The idea of object oriented programming came from the real world to deal with the real world problems in software. So that's the object oriented concepts came in picture, right? And this is not something only specific to Python, but these concepts are used across many programming languages. Okay, so yeah, so that is, or as somebody said, blueprint. That's a precise answer, I would say. Let's say I have a blueprint of a building, right? And I have a very good, the world's top architect who has who has created a blueprint for a building. And you tell me, even if it is the best blueprint, unless I create a building, there is no use of that blueprint, right? So whoever has created that, so that building where the actual building is there, and that actual building is nothing but the object, and blueprint is just on the prototype of how it looks like, how it should be, what are the features it has, what are the attributes it has. So all these things defined, and this is called a class or a category or a prototype or a blueprint, whatever you say, right? And when you create an object, that building, I can create many such buildings in that for that matter, right? So I have suppose 10 such buildings, meaning I have created 10 objects from the same blueprint, meaning same class. So same thing, suppose I have a circle and I have a radius, okay? So meaning now yeah, now I want to create circle 1. I can simply use this circle, okay? And now C1 is not an integer, not a float, but it is of type circle itself, okay? Now that means we have a user defined object, user defined data type now, right? Now circle 1 C1 is a circle type object. It is not an integer, not a float, not a string, not a list, but it is a circle. Okay, now we have defined one more type of object, right? So that is what is one more type of class, that is what is called class. And that this object, when I actually create, that becomes your object. Okay, now I'll take another example. Class is a keyword. C capital, remember I'm doing C capital for circle as well as here, because names generally should have capital. If you use small, there is no syntactical error. But ideally we should have all these names of the circle. That's the standard we should follow, and those names should be capital letter. Okay, so now I got this. Now here I used bracket after this, and here I didn't use. Both are same, whether you use or you don't use, it is okay. Here I have suppose not, what is that, let's say a number of tires equal to 4, and this is a car. Now I create a nano and I create a Mercedes, and I create an Audi. Okay, so what do you think? What happened here? Car is a prototype, and we have this number of tires 4 and some attribute, that only one of attribute, and probably I can have little more attributes. I can have some functionalities of that particular car, right? So here car, what it does is it moves also, isn't it? It moves. I'll just print moving in left direction. Okay, let's say. Okay, I run it. Now I create this uh, 3 objects, and if I see type nano and if I see type Audi, so these both things are of type car. Okay, this is, I think this is pretty obvious thing, right, to understand here. Now if I want to call this function or use this some of the attributes, let's say nano dot number of tires, it's 4, right? What do you think? Audi dot nano number of tires, obviously it is 4, because the same attribute is applied for all the objects here. Okay, whatever I'm going to create, but I want to have some specific attributes as well, right? So or let me check how can we call this move function also before I move on. Okay, so Audi dot move. So ideally it should work, right? But it is not working. It says that takes 0 positional argument, but 1 was given. Where I have given 1? No, I haven't given, right? Correct? I haven't gave any argument as such, but it is saying 1 was given, right? The reason is basically whenever I have called this attribute directly, I can call, but when I call a function, it should come with the help of the object itself, sorry, class itself, because I have to use class name to call this particular function, because this functionality is for the class, and I don't have any specific object which is calling. So by default, whenever I want to call this function using an object, so this Audi will be passed as a first argument if I want to achieve this 111 line number, right? Otherwise this is the way to call, but this is not practical way. We will call such functions from the class, because we don't use this class. Is not the good way, right? Though it works syntactically correct, but this is what I want to achieve. I want to use this way only, always, right? So but here it will get a calling object. Okay, now this case it worked, meaning what did I do? What is this O? Yes. Vijay said class. No. Sai said parameter. You're right. Object in the class. No, Ankita. It is not again object in the class, but it is a parameter, argument to the class, to the function. Now Sankalp says object of car. Let's yeah, you are right, Sankalp, but let's talk first about as an argument, right? Okay, I'll talk about the object of car, Sankalp. Yeah, and then object, Anandraj, you're right. Parameter, you're right. Argument, you're right. Okay, guys. So this is the argument, right? And this is the first argument which is by default taking without passing. Look at this. I didn't pass, but still it says that okay, there is one, so I just passed one. So let me see. I'll give something new, different name. Okay, A1 I called, and now I will see what A1 is. Probably what I will do is I will simply type. I'll check the type of A1, and maybe that way I will understand. See, look at this. Now I call move function, and I say that okay, this is of type car. Okay, meaning that object who is calling this particular function. So the RD is passed as the first argument implicitly, right? And that is how it happens internally. Okay, so I'll remove this line, and now if I call merc dot move, so this guy will also do the same thing. It is now merc object which is there inside this particular uh, function. Okay, now I want to pass a direction here. Let's say I want to pass left. Okay, now it says that okay, we are passing two arguments because one is implicitly passed, that is RD. Second, I'm passing as a left the string, but I am not collecting here, so I need to have this collected here, right? Let's say direction. Now it has not given me error, and it is saying that this left is hard coded, but in fact I should use this uh, this here direction, right? Okay, now you see it is working as expected. Left, or I would use it right. So it is now saying right direction. Okay, so that's how we can pass some of the arguments to the function which is a part of your, which is the functionality of your class. Okay, is this clear? Any question, guys? Okay, now I hope it is clear. No answer means I assume that it is fine to move forward, right? Okay. Now, let's say merc dot number of tires and Audi dot number of tires. I got this two, right? Now I will change it to 5. What do you think? What is the value of nano number of tires? Yes, quick. Yes, I got two answers. Both are 4. 3 people, 4 people. Okay, you guys are answering correct. So you got it right. So that nano is not changed, but now if I say Audi dot number of tires, it is now 5 because this is only changed to specific object, right? So that attribute got changed, correct? So that way, we can have. Now let me also add a little bit more about this to understand how we can use this for having more information of any particular object. What I'll do is I got this number of tires, and let me see, there is something called init function. Okay, now, okay, before that, let me do a little change stuff here. Okay, A1 is what? A1 is the object who is calling this particular function. Move is called by Audi, then A1 will be Audi. Move is called by, let's say, merc, A1 will be merc. So this is kind of a self who is calling. So self is the argument which people use. Okay, So we can have any other, but let's use self as a good practice, because everybody use self in the software community. People use self, so better, and it is best suitable name as such for the first argument. It is an implicit argument which is passed by default, and that is nothing but the object of this particular class who is calling that particular function, right? So self dot direction. Right now let me sorry, self and direction, these are the two attributes. Now let me see self dot let's say d equal to direction. Suppose if I assign something this way, so what happens? Okay, I have I haven't called this move function. Let me call this move function first. Yeah, I called move, and I called move for merc also. Okay, but for, oh sorry, for merc I have to pass this. Okay, I call this move for merc and audi. Now audi dot d, I can see that, okay, right is printed. Audi dot, sorry, merc dot d, what left is printed. Nano dot d, what happens to nano dot d? Nothing will be printed, because there is no attribute of for this nano object, because we haven't called move using nano. That's the reason this value is not set for that particular object. Okay, but I want to set some of the parameters for every object. So that's where something called constructor, for those who are having some background of C++ or Java, so though may understand, there is something called constructor to construct an object. Here there is something called initializer, or underscore underscore init underscore underscore, right? So these underscore underscore functions are the special functions of the class, which gets implicitly executed. And this underscore underscore init underscore underscore, or dunder underscore, whatever you want to say. Dunder means double underscore. So dunder init is used to initialize a function, initialize an object. Okay, init called. Okay, and now let's see the moment I create an object, I get this called automatically, implicitly, right? Meaning this is kind of an initialization function. So if that is happening, so it is better to have this another attribute, let's say white. Okay, so now I got this objects created, and number of tires are 4 for every vehicle, every car, right? So again, I can keep this inside this, so that every object which is getting created will have uh, this number of tires as 4, and uh, mark dot color as white, correct? And even rd dot color, I'll get white. Perfect, right? So that's how we can initialize, right? We talked about how we can have the attributes, various attributes of any object which we want to create, and we can have this way, right? So that is how we can have some type of data, some attributes assigned. Okay, so I'll take another example for simplicity, for making you more for you people to understand better. I'll take an example of, let's say, person. Okay, and now we have let's say name Akash, and age 26, and I want to use one function. Functionality is walking, sleeping, lot of functionalities are there, right? So now print walking. Okay, so this is how we create a p equal to person, and p dot name, I get this way, right? I hope this is clear. And now dir of p, like we did for list, we did for many objects. So p is another object, which is our own type of object, that is person type of object. Dir works on our own attribute, so user defined objects as well, right? And this shows me some parameters here. Age, name, attributes, and walk is a function, right? So that is how we can see. Now we will talk later on about this, or maybe you guys explore what is this. This we have already talked about. So this is a special function which is initializer. So similarly, we have delete function to remove, or string function to convert, or a lot of such less than, greater than. That implicit addition and addition of object happens because of this. Some of the add function here, maybe there is add, no, I don't know, but yeah, that is there, right? So maybe this something later, or maybe if we get more time we can explore, but this is something may not be required for now, but there's a lot to learn, as I said earlier. So you guys can explore this. Okay, so this is how we got this function, and yeah, this is the basic stuff, how we can put something into the different functions and attributes. Okay, any question how to use init, how to use some um, data here, some functions and attributes? Any question, guys? As of now, no. Okay, okay, fine, great. So the basic stuff we learned, and as we talked about init, so similarly there is del function. It's like a destructor, underscore del, right? The moment we want to clean up something, we can have this functionality, and this will be automatically executed when the object goes out of scope. Meaning, if I remove this nano, probably I can use this del function, del for deleting this nano. Del is, by the way, we used this del earlier, is a keyword to remove any data you want, right? Now next time I run, it won't work. Let me just create once again. Now if I delete, okay, it is like x equal to 10 and x printed del x over, and then now if I print x, it won't print, right? Something I hope you guys can recall this. Okay, so delete means the object goes out of scope and automatically this particular functionality gets executed, and that's kind of a destructor in the similar way it works in C++. Okay, so for that matter, we can have any functionalities and we can simply use those functions to use this in the classes and objects. Okay, quick stuff before I move on to the next topic is how to inherit. Maybe having some question for those who are having some object oriented background. Let's say I have a vehicle class, right, and I have, let's say let's say number of tires, right, equal to, let's say, 4. Now I want to reuse the functionality, right? In software engineering, a lot of reuse things we talk always, right? Let's say luxurious or luxury vehicles, I want to write here, and I want to use this. Okay, I'll keep it only standalone class again. Let's say what I can have in luxury is, let's say we have AC every time. Every car has AC, but let's say we have AC only in luxury cars now, right? Or I have some AC power, right? Maybe then class car, right? And now I can inherit from this vehicle class. Okay, and I will have, let's say, steering type. Okay, I'm just taking some example, guys. We can take some other good real-time examples also, but I just want to make sure you guys get the concept first. And I create this, and now, oops, what happened? I didn't run this. Oh, I run this, right? Okay. So Merc was, I don't know, somehow car was not taken. Okay. Now Merc dot, what do you think? Steering type will be obviously manual, but Merc dot number of tires also it will be printed, because this number of tires is the attribute belongs to vehicle, but this car is inherited from vehicle. Okay, that's how we can inherit. We can have this relationship. Suppose I have one class with some attributes, so same I can reuse by using a concept called inheritance, which is there as part of object oriented, and those parameters plus I will have my own attributes here, right? Suppose the sun is inheriting some of the characteristics from parents or a father, uh, plus he has his own attributes probably, right? So his own name, right? Plus some of the attributes are there, but that's how some additional stuff we can do, and that's what we are that's what is called as inheritance. Okay, so that's how we can achieve. How to achieve inheritance is this, using a class name, and in the bracket we can write. So brackets are for that reason. So even if we use empty, meaning it is going to inherit from a base class of everything that is called object, and if you don't use it, also it will do from the object class. That's the base class of everything. So anyway, this is how we can do, and there are a lot many things to explore, but we don't need it at this moment. Whenever we need, we will go and explore a little bit about those things. Okay, so now we will move on to working with files before another break, and then after break we will talk with NumPy. Okay, so a lot of times we want to deal with files because we want to work with the data which is there stored in the files, and mostly we want to do anything with the hard disk, because programmers generally works on in the RAM, because whatever we are talking, every memory, every object, everything is getting created on RAM only, right? So your computer's temporary memory, so it is not available on your for your reference going forward in future also. So what it should do is, we should have these details into a file in that scenario, in that situation. So how to do with this is, we have to get to the files, and we have to understand there is something called open function, and let's say file.txt I want to open. Okay, so it returns something, a file handler type of thing, right? Some type of object, and if I use this will open a file, but unfortunately this file is not available. Okay, now if I see my current working directory, Linux based systems, this gives you the directory where you are currently. So in this location it is looking for this file.txt. Okay, or for that matter you can also use OS module and os dot present working directory. I think this will give you, oops, cwd, I think. No, what is the function? Working directory, no. Yeah, there is one function. Let me just check it quickly. So you guys can explore, by the way. There is a current working directory, or some uh, function is there which will give you the directory, the working directory. Anybody knows this? PWD, yeah, present working directory maybe. How to pass argument to init? Okay, Sankalp, I will quickly add that quick stuff. Get cwd, I think. Get is the function, guys. Okay, I just forgot. os.get cwd. Okay, so this is how we can get it programmatically, but this is a command, we can do it. Okay, so now if I have this path, so it is going there and looking for this, so probably what you can do is do this, but still you don't find, because this file is not available in that location as well. Let me go to that location. This is the location. Here I want to create a new file. Let's say this new file, Python is fun, we started learning for machine learning, for ML. Thank you. Okay, so this is the file. I'm going to save it, let's say file.txt. Okay, I want to oops, okay, I want to use only text. Use okay, my system. Okay, I'll use this, I'll rename it, no worries. Okay, so what I will do is, I'll just take this file and I'll put here, and now I found here move file to file.txt. It's okay. I mean, we can just do this tweak. Now if I do, it has not given me any error. Okay, meaning I could open this file and read it. Okay, now it has opened. Let me see what is this fh. Okay, fh is not known, right? It is something of text IO wrapper, but anyway, I don't have to really care about it, what type of it is, type of object it is. But what I will do is I will just try to see what all things I can do with this object, right? And there are a lot of things. It looks like, okay, we have readable, read lines. Okay, looks something useful, right? You can writable, write lines, and so on. So some of the functions which looks like we can use fh dot let's say read, and now see. Oh, great. So I think something happened. What happened, not sure, but it has done something. Oops. Color B. Okay, I think it has done some kind of encoded stuff. Let me just run once again. fh.read. Maybe I have this RTF type file, so that could be the reason. So I will just open this vi new file .txt. Python is fun. Learning Python. End of file. Okay, I'm just doing this with new file. Okay, so there's a file format issue, guys. So I'm just I have created a text file that was my different kind of file. That was the reason. So it will work with the only regular files with the text format. Any specific file, if I give a PDF, it won't work. Okay, it is a text regular files, text based files only. Okay, open is used. Now question is how to deal with such specific files like Excel data and PDF and lot of files. So we are coming to that, especially Excel data or CSV data. We can do CSV can be read by using this open function, but Excel and all we can use different packages, different modules. PDF we can do, images we can do, a lot of modules we are going to explore going forward. Okay. So okay, I will proceed further. How we read okay, how we read a file is using this open function, and fh read will give you the whole contents of a file. And if you look at this, I will open I will have to close also. Okay, fh dot close. Okay, so that's how we are done. Now I want to run again, and now I want to store this yes equal to, instead of printing, I want to see what is type of yes here, right? So read will read the files and put into a file, put into a string, and that string have all the contents of a file, and we can simply use this in our program, meaning our whole content of a file is now converted to a string, and you can use this in your program. So /n is there, and that's why it is a new line. So it is available here as well. Okay, so there is a different way, a new way of doing is with keyword. Okay, this is sorry, with open as fh. So we can just create it. Instead of closing every time, we can have this fh scope within this context only, right? And that's why this context manager with is used in Python programming. So okay, let's not get confused. Just to show you quickly, I'm doing the same thing, nothing new, nothing different, and print yes. Okay, so doing later on step by step you will learn, right? There's no difference, just that if I'm using print, so automatically this /n is converted to the new line, right? That's the only. Here also, even if I do this here, print yes, it will do in this way only, right? New lines. Okay, is this clear? Now I will go one step ahead. Here, instead of read, I will do a read line, and I will see what happens here. Perfect. I got only one line. Okay, and now I will do again fh dot read line. Okay, I got the second line and so on. So read line is reading one line at a time, and it is pointing to the place where this is end. Okay, and that's how we can use read line also. And let's see read lines how it does. And if I do this, read lines will read each line and put as one or element of a particular list, right? And that's how we have this all the data available. Okay, but anyway, these are some of the functions you guys can explore, understand more, and come up with the questions if you have any. Okay, so quickly, student.csv file. I'll create ID, name, age. Let's say 1, Akash, 25, 2, Mohan, 27, right? Again, I can have this kind of file instead of this new file. I will simply use student and it is CSV. Okay, I get this data. Okay, now we can see how to explore a little bit more. Okay, if you want to, Jagdish is having question, if you want to read nth line. Okay, that's what now you guys have to work on with these solutions. But yeah, quickly I'll answer your question. But there are a lot of combinations, lot of situations where you have to play with this, and I will tell about this as well, right? I can probably use, instead of read, I can use for line in fh. So fh is a iterable object. I can also iterate over this particular object, and I can simply print each line this way also, right? And if it is the nth line, a particular number of lines you want to go and get, so there are multiple ways to do it. One is maybe you can simply convert everything into list fh dot read lines, right? And you can simply print L of, let's say nth means suppose second, right? And you are also done, right? It's up to you guys how you want to use, but there are many ways to do this, right? Now you got the second line read it, okay? Read here, second line read here, okay? So that way you can do, or it's up to you how you want to do. You can simply use this also, by the way. Yeah, the second line is read here this way using the index here. Since it's a list, we know how to do that. But for that matter, I can give one quick exercise, sample.txt. You guys have to do. Python is fun. Today is Saturday. New Year is coming. Let's apply Python learning. End of file. Okay, something. Now in this whole data, I have Python in first line and I have Python in the fourth line. Suppose I want to print only those lines where you find Python, right? So again up to your way. There is a different way how you can do it, but let me see quickly. Text txt, right? And now I want to run over this particular file, and I want to print only those lines where there is Python. So I can simply say Python in line. If that is true, I'll print, oops, what happened? I'll print the line, right? See, Python is fun, and let's apply Python learning. So I got only those lines where I find Python keyword. Okay, in is the operator which is used to see if something is belongs to that particular object container or not. Is this clear? Okay, Sankalp, yeah, other people got the answer, got it now. Sankalp is having a question that what is width And one more question was how to pass argument to init. Okay, Sankal, both the questions are yours, right? How to pass argument, sorry, argument to in underscore init, and what was that? What is with? Okay, who has the answers, guys? Can somebody tell? Okay, if somebody needs break, you guys can go now, but I will break at another couple of minutes after explaining these two things, and I'll be back by 10 15 or maybe 10:18. Okay. Yes, who can answer this? How to pass argument to init, or what is with? First, let's start with what is with. Yes, who can answer this? What is with? With is there is something called context management, right? So with is just a keyword. Let's not go in that depth of what is context manager and all these things, but with is just a keyword which forms a context, meaning using with keyword in this particular statement we can have this colon, meaning there is a block of statements I can write inside this, right? And whenever we create whatever it returns, we create as an alias, that is fh, and fh has the scope of only this particular block. So with will help you to have that scope defined by the for this particular block only, right? And that is the reason we don't have to close fh. Otherwise earlier this also does the same thing. Fh, open, read, and close. These are the three steps we have to follow. Otherwise here with statement I can simply open and read. I don't have to close, because automatically after this block, after this block means here if I write I'm done, that fh is anyway out of scope and file is getting closed. And if I don't close the file, we can't open this file if we are trying to open manually later on, right? And that is the reason we should close also. And by default automatically it gets closed, by the way, when your program is completed. That is what is called with. Okay, Sankalp, is this clear? I have another 1 minute to talk about init. So I don't know what is the challenge understanding anything to pass in the init. Here it is pretty simple. When I pass something to direction, I can pass the same thing using the argument here, right? How to pass is here itself at the time of calling. Okay, this is blue car and this is white car and this is, let's say, red car. Okay, so this way we can do. Now we got this one argument extra, so we have to pass one here automatically, otherwise nano is passed in the self. And here this is how we can pass. So explore it, you will get to know. Now this is passed to init as well, so that object. Is this clear? Sankalp, have I answered both of your questions? Okay, great. Okay, guys, I'll be back by 10:18. Okay, it's 10:09 now, and I'll be back by 10:18, and we will continue our next stuff. Okay, I'm back, guys. Those who have any question, if they want to speak anything, let me know. We have still, a minute to talk about whatever we learned till now. Okay, so let's talk about, there is something more about, some other packages. This is just a basic about Python, whatever we learned till now. And this is something very useful going forward when we try to write any program, any programs in data science, machine learning stuff. And we will use this in many models when we write, and we will apply our learnings that time, right? But before we jump on to statistics, to machine learning, there are a couple of important packages, two three important packages we should know. Those are Python libraries used extensively for data science, machine learning stuff. Okay, sorry. Yeah, so I got a couple of questions. Let me see. Anand Raj, is there any restrictions on accessing the variables and functions from other classes like we have in Java, like access modifiers? Okay. So again, to jump to deep dive on object-oriented concepts, I suggest to go into that. There is no restriction as such. It is everything is public by default, but we can add some restrictions. So by default, it is restricted in C++. I remember, and we have to provide some global accessibility there. Here by default, everything is public. Anything you can access directly. But if you want to make something as a private variable, or you want to restrict, you want to have static functions, a lot many things can be done, guys. So I could cover only very basic things. And so this is double underscore with variable name will make that variable as a private, right? We can't access this the way we were accessing here, right? Here, see, look at this. So I didn't do anything. I just added this double underscore and I make that name as a private variable, and I cannot access this particular variable now, right? If I want to access it, then again we can write one getter setter method, get name, and you get it accessed there. Okay, self dot name, of course, underscore underscore name. So this way you can do. Oh, sorry. I think, yeah, you have to use this underscore. Oops, what happened? Name and get. Oh, sorry, I'm not using this get name, right? Yeah, so that's the way. There are many things to talk, Anand. I think you got it now, at least this simple example I showed you how to make something private. But for that matter, you can have these restrictions if you want to add. Okay. Uh, yeah, so to proceed with machine learning, with data science, we have most popular libraries, okay, and very important, very powerful libraries, I would say, are toolboxes, I would say. Libraries used is NumPy, Pandas, and SciPy is another, but we will type scikit-learn, scikit-learn, matplotlib, Seaborn. So there are just few I want to write here, but we will be using this going forward. These are for the visualization, and rest this is for machine learning algorithms we find here. This is for exploratory data analysis, which we are going to do and perform, read files, perform some analysis there, some data management, data understanding, cleaning, cleansing, filtering, and a lot of things we want to do, and that's where these packages are used. So NumPy is okay. Let me just open a slide. Maybe if I have Miss, yeah, this you guys just go through the PPTs, guys. PPTs have a few things here and there, so I go with my flow. That is the best way I feel. You will get what exactly is required, and these are some of the attributes, additional things. If you want, you definitely go through this, and you will get more understanding. So we have talked about inheritance, but this is all already polymorphism is built in polymorphic abstraction is there. You can just go and read more about these concepts. Okay, so I want to go exceptions we haven't covered now. We will see if we get a chance when we want to use it sometime, and that time I will go on the exception handling. Right, it's not a big deal, it's a small thing I will do sometime later. So here I was talking about NumPy. Where is NumPy? Yeah, here. So it is a package. It's again a Python package which is used for scientific computing. This is a really high performance package which is used for the arrays basically and matrices, multidimensional arrays and matrices is used, and it has many functions that allows to perform some advanced mathematical and statistical operations on those objects, guys. Okay, so this is what NumPy does. This is it allows, it has so many functions, so many tools, so many sub modules to perform some advanced mathematical and statistical operations. Now we haven't studied statistics yet, but when I see something about statistics basics, that time I will also use some of the functions from this module. Okay, so these are the mathematical operations, mainly converted, everything converted into arrays and matrices, and that way it improves performance significantly, and we can use for many real-time applications. Okay, so I will come to that, how it is different from I would say a list. We have list also, we have um, you know NumPy also, how it differs, what all things we can do. I will quickly take you through that now. Mm, yeah, so how to import is import NumPy, right? This is how we can import. Now you don't have to install if you are using this notebook, but if you are not using this notebook, then you have to do pip install NumPy, and it will go to pypy.org, and it will pull this package if you are connected to internet, and it will install on your system. So we don't have to do this. Pip will do everything for us. Okay, so you guys can do this if you want. If you don't have, if you are not using this particular notebook or or Anaconda. Okay, so that way you will get it. Now I got NumPy already, so what I'll do is I'll create one-dimensional array, let's say array 1D, and I can create NumPy dot array. Okay, and now if I want to create array, I want to create array from a list. Okay, so let's say I want to create this array. Now let me see how it looks like. Array underscore one dimension, right? And this is of NumPy's ND array type object. Okay, this is not an integer, but it is of type ND array, right? So ND array is a basic element of the NumPy array. So this is one way, a quick thing here. We can use as keyword to create an alias, because every time I don't want to type this NumPy, so we can do this also. Okay, this does the same thing. So line number 254 and 256 can be written as line number 258 and 259. Both are exactly same thing. There is no difference. Okay, so this way we have just created one. I'll create, let's say, yeah, list one. I will create 1 2 3 4, and list two I'll create. And let me see. Yeah, so I got this. Now array two-dimensional I will create, and two-dimensional array I can create using again array function, and I have to give list one and list two here. Okay, tuple of list one and list two, and array2 I can simply print this two-dimensional array. Okay, so again, I will come to the application where you will really it's mind-blowing thing. It's really exciting thing, how everything can be converted to array and how this array performs the best way, what best thing what we can do, right? So now not only that, but there is something, a range function we see here. There is something called a range function, right? Not arrange, a range. Okay, a range function will create again one dimensional array of 0 to 99, up to 99, up to 100, but not including 100. I hope that is clear. So this way we can do. Now this again, let me just type here, let's say a equal to, and let me see what is the type of a. And a type is nd array, means there are some functions, right? Dir of nd array or a will give you a lot of functions. So I don't want to go through that because this is a huge list. Again, inside this there are many functions and many libraries, or NumPy has already huge list. If you look at this NP, so you guys can explore if you want. This is huge list. A lot many things are there, and we can't use everything, but definitely few things we will explore, and later on you can definitely see what all important things out of this whole package. Okay, but very important thing to whatever is commonly used we can use. Now a dot reshape, I can simply do this 100 this array of 100 elements, that is a single one dimensional array. I can convert it to two dimensional array of 10 by 10, right? That kind of reshape we can do, meaning I can also do the same thing in one command. And here I can do this 10 by 10, right? If I try to do 10 by 11, it won't do because it will say that these dimensions are not there, right? We have only 100 element. I can't have 10 by 11 matrix, correct? So that's obvious. So if you don't know, how to calculate, you can simply put -1, so automatically it will calculate this as 10 only. And if I have this 5, so definitely 5 by 20, so that 20 will be done automatically, correct? So that is one function called reshape. Okay, reshape can be used to change your dimensions. And if you do so, let me also write one more thing here, a1 equal to, and now a1 dot shape. Okay, and you will see this is 100 by single dimension, right? There is no second dimension as such. Now I will do the same thing now here and I will reshape it to 10 by 10. And here if I do get the shape, obviously it should be uh, 10 by 10 now. Okay, and there is something called size 100 ndim, and that is sorry, a2 dot size. I'll keep all these things for you guys. Size is 100 obviously, and ndim is n dimension. How many dimensions are there, right? This is two dimensions, and if I do ndim for a1, obviously it is one dimension array, right? Not only that, we can also do np dot summation. Sum I can do for, let's say, a2. Okay, and it will do just add all the elements in a2. Okay, so these are some of the functions we have, we can use, we can explore, and we will also find these things. Right now also I want to see, we will do one thing. I'll just go here and I'll just type 6 6 6 7 9 9 2 2. Okay, so suppose I have this, and we can also try to explore some other functions. If I recall something, np 1d, no, not that. I will simply use np dot unique. Is there? Yeah, unique is there, right? unique array 1D. Okay, let me see what it does is it will just give me the unique elements from this particular array, n dimension array. Okay, now why if I have a list, list is much better, right, in this case, because list can also hold these values, as well as list can also hold any other data type there, right? And that was something we were very happy to have list kind of data structure in Python. Now how this array is different than what it is doing. So if you are really dealing with huge data, and if you are dealing with only numerical data, so this will be much efficient, or I would say faster than list. So I'll just prove that. Import time, I'll just use a time module to get a list, to capture the time, and I want to create a list of some numbers, right? Let me do that. X um, for X in range, sorry, and I would go for million numbers. Okay, so be careful. If you are using huge numbers, your system might stuck. uh, so I can do this in million numbers, or maybe I'll go for 10 million numbers in some time later. So these are the two lists I have created. And now how to add the values of two lists? Anybody? How to add values of two lists and create another list, a new list? Because I'm playing with the list, I want to create a new list. I will just write here, let's say L1 equal to 2 comma 3 comma 4 and L2 equal to 5 comma 6 comma 7. Now I want to create addition, like 2 plus 5, 3 plus 6, 4 plus 7. This should be the output. Some can be used. Now you have to tell me, are you sure some can be used? Yes, who can answer? Niriksha answered some. She's thinking some might be used, but where is the sum? First question, right? Suppose I have these two dictionaries, two lists. Let me see if there is sum. So I don't see a sum function here. Do you see? No. So where you want to use sum? Sum, is it a built-in function you are saying? I will see sum expected at least one argument. Let me see. So sum, it is doing this 9, right? The sum of list it is doing, but now my goal is, my output expected is 2 plus 5 is 7 comma 3 plus 6 is 9 comma 7 plus 11 is 12. This is the output I'm expecting. Niriksha, math sum, no, math sum is not required. Sum is the built-in functions. Okay, yes, who can answer? Anybody has answer to do this summation, addition of these two, like two lists? No? Add new list equal to empty for I'll make it simple, for I in L1, and you can also go for J in L2, new list dot append I plus, no, I think we can't do that. What I will do is I will go with length of list 1, and I'll go with L1 of I comma plus L2 of I. Okay, I think this should give me, I don't know, integer object is not callable. I okay. What is L1 and L2? Okay, I haven't, is it new list I in range, I forgot to use range. Okay, So now, sorry, new list. See, I got this, right? But I'm not convinced with this. Are you? Yeah, you're right, Sankalp. That's another way of doing the same thing. What we can do is we can use a list comprehension and we can do that the same thing as well, right? This is what Sankalp has given in the text box, message box. And you are right, we can do this, but I will be little more sophisticated to do this by using list comprehension plus there is something called zip function for x comma y in zip. Now you have to explore. Enumerate I talked about. Zip I don't recall if I talked about, but zip is to zip the iterable objects. The first element and second element will be clubbed together and it is written this way, and I can just add those and I get it right in single line. So now obviously this line number 296 is much faster, efficient, better than line number 294. Okay, so the best possible thing we are doing with, let's say, with this, right? And sum we will call it. And I want to also capture time here. T0 equal to time dot time. Okay, and now I got this sum done, summation done, and now I want to print how much time it took. Time dot time, what is current time now and what is the before calculation time, that is 0, which we have captured. Okay, so to get this clearly visible, I want to convert it to milliseconds. Sorry, t1, no, t0. Okay, I got it. It is doing this way. Let me add one more zero here. 10 million numbers. It took 610 milliseconds. Okay guys, you got this? Maybe I'll go for billion numbers. Okay, it is taking little more time now. Because going forward we are playing with data and more data, so definitely we should understand if really something is making sense, right? So it is taking, oops, how come, what happened here? It is, I think it has printed wrong because it should be in seconds, right? What is wrong? List 1 and list 2, I have x in the range billion, t0 time dot time, then the sum I have. Okay, I got it. So maybe I should not use sum. I'll use heuristic. Sum is a function, right? Built-in function, and I maybe yeah, I don't know what is happening wrong there, but sum will be overwritten. That's not good good way to do it. But anyway, let me just check. Now it might be some good answer. Now, meanwhile, I want to do the same thing for arrays. Okay, using NumPy array. Okay, a range can be used for. I don't know. Better I'll copy these zeros to avoid any mistake. I have copied these details here. A1 and A2 I got, and the good part is I'll just again capture T0 time here. And the best part in NumPy array is we have this functionality here. We can simply do A1 and A2 addition directly. Okay, and let me see if how much time it is taking to do the same thing what we did here. Yeah, so there is a huge, oops, how come, what happened? So am I doing something wrong? Because we can see that it's visible that this is taking more time. It took around 1 second and this take very less time. But how it is printing this way? What is not converted properly? Okay, I have restarted everything because somehow I think that small sequence of time running different. Is it? No, time is T0 is captured here and current time minus T0. And here also T0 is captured here, current time minus T0. I think that is also right, Vijay. See, it is visible for us, right? Still processing, it is taking time, and obviously it is taking 2 3 times 2 or 3 seconds, it looks like. In fact, it is taking more time, not even 3 seconds, 4 seconds. It is taking maybe 10 seconds or 10 more than 10 seconds, it seems. Okay, by the way, do you guys follow till now about this? I will tell this. Definitely it should work. There is no doubt in that. Oh, L1, L2. Okay, mine is list 1 and list 2, guys. Okay, I got it. So this was the mistake because my list 1, list 2 was very small here, right? L1, L2 was this small. And that's the reason I was getting not even a second, right? It was doing less than a second. Okay, got it. Now import numpy as np. Yeah, let me do this now. This time I think it will work. Let me just clear this out. It is, I will probably take one small number then. I'll remove 1 0 to avoid time, to save our time. 1 0 removed here, 1 0 removed here, 1 0 removed here, 1 0 removed here. So I run this. Now let me see. Yeah, I got it 1.3 second, and here it is 88 milliseconds, guys. Okay, and that shows clearly that this the same operation what we are trying to do using NumPy is much faster compared to the most efficient way we thought about doing in Python, right? I mean, doing using list comprehension or using list. Okay, and now imagine if this is huge data, this difference will go further. Okay, because NumPy is best works best when we have huge data, obviously. Okay, so that is how I was just trying. This NumPy is much faster, efficient in terms of memory as well as speed. Okay, so now let me go and do a little bit more hands-on with this NumPy arrays, and I will try to use this slicing concepts what we learned on list. The same thing can we do on NumPy. That's what I will try to explain here. Okay, just a moment, let this get executed. No, it's not done it. Yeah, I have added only 1 0, but yeah, it took 33 seconds, guys. Sorry, it took a lot of time. And this won't take that much. It should do in 2 3 seconds or 4 seconds, maybe. Yeah, 4 seconds, right? So there's a huge difference if you look at. Okay, so definitely this is huge number. 1 billion is a huge number, and for 1 billion numbers to add, definitely it will take time. Okay, oh sorry, I have again run by mistake, but let me just do LST of what does that mean now? This LST colon 10 20. Have you learned this? And A colon 20. Yes, guys, I want to hear from you guys. List values from 0 to 20. You're right, Niriksha. Nobody else got this? Vijay 1 to 20. No, it's 0 to 20, not including 20. First 20 numbers, Ashish, you're right. Anand Raj, first 20 numbers, 0 to 20, you're right. Okay, perfect. So 0 to 19, Vijay, including 19, you're right. Okay, perfect. So yeah, once we are done with this, we can see how what is happening, and I'll remove these one numbers, guys. So it is still processing. The star indicates it is processing. We'll do some better things with pandas and numpy maybe next session. So we have so many things to talk. Now let me see what is happening. See, look at this. So 0 0 0 1 1 2 2 2 4. So these things are added now, right? Every list is getting added, every element of the list is getting added. So same thing here. So this also gives me the same output. Okay, this is the list and this is numpy array. So that is the that is the advantage how we got this list and numpy array. And now numpy array, we can do the same slicing what we did with list. Okay, so we can do list, we can do slicing. So same way we can do slicing for numpy array. It is obvious thing. We can do slicing for any iterable object for that matter. We did for string, we did for list, we did for tuple. So same way we can do for numpy array as well. Okay, so meaning suppose if I do this 4 to 20, right? These are the elements it will consider. Now we can, there is advanced stuff with numpy array. As I said, it's powerful, most most powerful thing I would say for the numerical data. Here we can also do array a. Okay, since it's a bigger array, I want to go with the smaller array now. Okay, maybe I will go with this one dimension array, or I'll simply use this ARR. Now I got this array and I want to get ARR only if it is uh, even numbers, and that is also possible. Meaning inside this index, not only we can have this slicing syntax, but we can also have this kind of complex expression where we can have this conditional checks, and we will see that okay, this is how we can filter, or we can get our data from this particular array, right? So now the next thing is, let me also talk about array, or a equal to np dot a range of, let's say, 50 dot reshape uh, 10 by 5. Let's say. Yeah, this is how I got A, and I've got this A of 10 by 5 matrix. Okay, I hope this is clear. Now slicing can be done on 2-dimension array as well. Let's say if I do this colon 3, obviously it will give only 3 rows, but I might want to slice this portion only, right? So only this portion, let's say. I hope my screen is visible now, and whatever I have selected, is it clearly visible, or this is gray, a little portion is grayed out here, right? Suppose I want only this, okay, that particular portion. Okay, so in that situation we can also do a little more with this indexing here. So meaning this 0 to 3 comma, and let's say 1 to 5. So look at this. 1 means 0 to 3 means first 3 rows are cut here first, and then later on this is for columns. Column from 1 means this is the column. 1 to 5 means not including 5, up to 4 it is going. Suppose I go for 1 to 4, so this small portion is pulled out. Okay, maybe I'll go with array again. This is the bigger array, and I have, let's say, a called a. Here I want to go from 15, let's say, right? 0 1 2 3, 0 1 0 1 2 2 2 comma, sorry, 2 colon, up to, let's say, 35. Okay, 7. This is for rows, and for column I want to apply, let's say, 2 to 4. Okay, and this is the, oops, what happened? Oh, wrong thing. It is not, it is colon, but why it is doing so much? Okay, that was the comma. Actually it was supposed to be a colon. So anyway, it is stuck something, I think. Let me just restart it, and I'll resume it just to import numpy, sorry, numpy as np. Okay, we got this a, and now I got this a sliced this way, 2 to 4. Okay, and 2 to 7. Instead of that, I can go with only 4 column, 4 rows. Okay, see, now this is a small portion we could pull out, meaning 12 13. Where is that? 12 13. Yeah, this portion we can pull out, and we can have this small portion here, right, as our another numpy array, of course, right? And this numpy array we can also reshape or flatten. If you remember, there is some, if you try with flatten, you can flatten it the way we did for reshape. So reshape will, this is by default, 2 by, sorry, 4 by 2 matrix, and flatten will flatten to a single dimension, right? So meaning I will just do this, np dot a range 100 will do this, and np dot a range 100 dot reshape, let's say, 20 by 5. Okay, that it is doing, converting that flat array to 2D array. And if I want to change it back to my flat array, like one dimension array, that is where we can use flatten function. Okay, flatten is one more function we can use. And is this clear with the slicing part? We have sliced the data. We have used some kind of indexing where, based on some condition also, we can print. Okay, so if any data which is greater than 0, that should be printed, we can do that, and so on, right? We can do many things with this numpy array, and we will see how best we can do going forward, right? We have seen size, we have seen shape, we have seen reshape, and many things. In fact, we can do. Let me do, h stack. There is something called h stack is there with array. Definitely, it will do. What is a first? Let's understand. So a is this, 2-dimensional array. It's stack will horizontally stack your array, and in fact you should have 2 arrays to its stack. Maybe I will try to have this a1 equal to, I'll take one better array, np dot a range 10, and a2. Maybe I'll go with this a1 and a2, and we'll see how, oops, I should have this as a tuple as an input, right? See, now we got this a1, a2, and this 0 to 9 and 0 to 9. These two are getting appended here. And if I see this reshape of, let's say, 5 comma 2, and same here. And you can see that how we can stack these two arrays using horizontal stacking, right? And same way we can do using vstack, and these are some of the functions you can explore. But is this clear? I hope this is the basic stuff I tried to show you using NumPy. And we want to see how NumPy can be used to store arrays and how it can be faster. So these are some of the basic stuff we wanted to try. Right. Next time I will try to show you some image, how it can be converted using Matplotlib, how we can plot some different different graphs with the data. But this is just to start with. We have talked about the NumPy array, how to slice that array, how to create array, and how to get this. By the way, A is there, and we can also do a dot sum, and sum, it will sum everything, all the elements. And for that matter, we can also create some matrices, matrix data using mat function there in this. And we can also generate some random numbers using random function. We can also create mean. Let me just see mean. Mean of this A. A means this all the elements, and the mean is 24 by 0.5. This is obvious, right? 0 to 49 is 24 by 5 is a mean. Mean, median, standard deviation, all these things I'm yet to discuss. Not to worry. For now, just hold on with the NumPy array, how it is used, how you can do it. Okay, guys, so for a couple of minutes, I want to talk to you guys. I will unmute you guys. How this session is going on. Are you guys following, or you want me to change something? And any questions for that matter, let me know if you have any questions. Okay, I have unmuted everyone. Those who want to speak, please unmute yourself and speak if you want to.
Hello, Ganesh.
Yes, yeah. Yes, Ashish, who
Yeah,
is speaking?
in your assignment, there is one question. Ashish,
Okay. Yeah, Ashish, yeah.
are you listening?
Yes, yes, I can hear
There
you.
is one
Yeah.
question. Create a student database to perform CRUD operation.
Okay.
So I didn't do this thing
You didn't understand
because
what
I don't
exactly?
have idea about the database.
Okay, okay. Who is
What is the
having?
CRUD operations?
Yeah, I'm coming to it. Anybody has same question, or anybody has answer to it? What is CRUD operation? CRUD or crude, whatever you say. CRUD
Yeah,
operation.
I have an understanding.
Yeah. Yeah. Tell me. Yes.
Yeah, CRUD is basically insert, update, delete. The all the data manipulation operations.
Create,
Okay.
remove,
Remove,
update,
update,
and
delete.
delete. No, no.
No,
It's not remove that.
R
It
is
is
for read, select, read.
read
Yeah,
and delete.
and delete.
So
Read or select.
yeah, so CRUD is just a terminology we used in database area. Okay, but we are not doing anything in the database as such, Ashish. Okay, this is not to do anything with the database. It is just a terminology used in a database. Now, suppose I have student record, students equal to, I have roll number colon, let's say other details like name, uh, Akash, and so on, right? So the point is age, right? So this is one student we got, and we will get, let's say, other student, comma, and I will have this second student, right? And I might have the third student, and so on. Okay, I want you guys to do this with a program, using a program, right? Programmatically, I want you guys to create this list and later on if user press let's say one of the option to update, so you should ask user about what you want to update, give the roll number, right, which you want to update. You take the roll number, let's say 2, what you want to update, age, let's say, right? So how do you do is, because students age can be changed, student 2 2 is the key, and then again there is a age and equal to whatever value you want to change. Let's say you want to change to 24, and that is what I was talking about. This all CRUD operations we want to perform on the such kind of database, meaning such kind of data how we are holding in our memory. Okay, is that clear, Ashish? Yes, Ashish, I have unmuted everyone again.
Yes, now it's clear. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. So how about others? Did you get a chance to perform some basic stuff?
Hi, Ganesh, Vijay here.
Yes, Vijay. Yeah.
I have a question. I saw the project one and project two in session one. Is it an exercise or what?
It is exercise. You just go through that, you understand, you learn what you are doing, and then if you have any question, come back to me. I will help you to understand more. Now, as in our sessions, we don't go with those projects, but in our session, everything we will do, it becomes a project only, right? For example, if I download one data set, or if I do a recommender system, or if I do, yeah, let's say recommendation system. So definitely, I'll take one data set for a retailer, and I will show you how to develop a recommendation system. That becomes a project itself, right? So I don't have to take projects separately, but as part of our every concept, like if I run through one of the data set for logistic regression, so we will do program here live,
Okay.
right? And that help you to do on your own the projects which are there.
Yeah, it looks straightforward. It looks fine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay. Any other thing, Vijay? Anybody else? Anything? Okay. How is the session, Vijay? Do you follow these things? What is
Yeah, it's
happening?
good. I'm familiar with Java and also Java. I mean, actually, you can go ahead and keep up with the syllabus, whatever the plan is. If you go for it, we don't disturb unnecessarily, so that
Yeah,
you
that
can
is
go.
great because the way I have planned for you guys is
Uh,
definitely the best possible I could think about as per my other training experiences.
okay.
So yeah, next session would be pandas and matplotlib tomorrow, and next weekend we will apply all the learnings in exploratory data analysis, and some statistics we will learn on the next weekend, guys. So
Okay.
don't miss sessions. It is really something, if you follow the flow, at least for six sessions, you don't miss anything. 6 to 7, 8 sessions, I would say.
Uh,
Later on, if we have 5 algorithms, if I do 2, and if you couldn't attend one of the session where you missed 2 algorithms, so those can be done, you can refer video, and it will be easily understandable that time. Okay, but initial stage, it is really important. I'm spending good amount of time on basics also.
okay. Sounds good.
Ashish was asking about, will you create WhatsApp group? Guys, you have to take initiative if you want that group. Just start, putting your numbers, and not today. In the next session, tomorrow itself, you drop your personal numbers to me on private chat. I will collect those numbers, and I will email you one of you guys and take a lead and create a group. And let's have that for a good purpose, not to talk about other things, but only this learnings, which if we can make it better, okay, for everybody's benefit. Okay, that's we'll do next, and that's all, guys, for today. And thanks a lot. Thanks for your time, and see you tomorrow same time.
Okay. Thanks a lot. Good
Yeah,
night.
yeah. Thank you, guys. Bye. Bye.
By cash it order. Good, 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 good. Let's see. Great.